SCP-3228. Object Class, Euclid. Special Containment Procedures. SCP-3228 is currently housed in a standard humanoid containment cell at Humanoid Containment Site 06-3. Additional beds are also located near SCP-3228's containment cell to be used in testing. All testing of SCP-3228 is to be supervised by Dr. McCormick and, upon completion of testing, all subjects are to referred for full psychiatric evaluation in order to determine the extent of 3228's effects on the subject. Following Test 3228-06, testing has been suspended due to an ongoing investigation into amnestic use, as authorized by 05-11, TTT. Description: SCP-3228 is a sentient humanoid entity measuring 1.92 meters in height. SCP-3228 appears to be composed of a ceramic material, closely resembling archaeological finds found at Solitsata 1, Bulgaria. While SCP-3228 does not appear to have a metabolism, and is unable to eat, drink, perspire and perform other life functions, SCP-3228 is capable of movement and vocalization. However, under normal circumstances, SCP-3228 refuses to communicate with any other individual or group, although has been known to converse with various Foundation researchers on some occasions. If one or more personnel enter REM sleep within a 20-meter proximity of SCP-3228, an 3228A event will occur, characterized by two phases. Initially, SCP-3228 will remain in a motionless state for approximately 6 to 9 hours in a sleep-like state. Subsequently, SCP-3228 will instantaneously resume normal activities and all subjects will awake from REM sleep simultaneously. Examinations of subjects awakening from REM sleep have shown varying levels of restructuring of neurons within the temporal lobe and hippocampus. In all cases, this has resulted in immediate memory loss, dependent on the extent of the changes occurring within the brain. Attempts to restore memory to affected personnel have so far proved inconclusive. The second phase of a 3228A event will typically occur within 30 minutes of personnel awaking from REM sleep. This usually takes the form of an anomalous event, which some personnel under the influence of a 3228A event describe as a wish being fulfilled. See Addendum Number 1 for examples of 3228A events. Addendum Number 1, Testing Log, plus show partial testing log of 3228, HIDE, Test Number, 3228-01, Subject, D4339, Observations, approximately 20 minutes after subject awoke, a Caucasian female of approximately 40 years of age and two children of approximately 8 and 10 years of age. Appeared instantaneously around a bed previously occupied by D4339. These were later identified as close relatives of D4339, although subject was unable to recall numerous personal details about the individuals. Upon interrogation of these individuals, they all reported having a migraine shortly after D4339 awoke from REM sleep and being transported instantaneously to D4339's bedside. After testing negative for any anomalous traits, Class B amnestics were administered to the family of D4339 and escorted back to their home in Redacted. The residency is currently under observation for any further anomalous activity. Test Number, 3228-02. Subject, D32109, Observations, subject was unable to recall numerous details about themselves and past activities. Within 5 minutes of awaking, subject complained of pains in their back. After 2 minutes, the skin ruptured violently in 2 slits either side of the spine, before 2 wings emerged from the site of injury. Subject was taken into medical care and is currently being held for further examination. Test Number, 3228-04, Subject, D12558, Observations, subject acquired substantial memory loss. Upon returning to his cell,
Foundation watchdog algorithms noticed a total sum of $20 million being distributed into various bank accounts belonging to relatives of D12558. Additional notes, the account used to transfer the money was registered to an individual known as. A subsequent raid on a property in Prodiadia, Bulgaria, registered to the same individual, resulted in the discovery of the following note: to the Foundation, if you are to find this, which you most likely will do, it's important that, whatever you're doing to these people you send to test me with, you need to stop whatever you're doing. I don't know what you've done, but you've opened up the holes inside their head that should never be tampered with. Their memories have been taken, but the spaces they've left haven't been sealed up. Something feels very wrong when I'm inside their dreams. Please, stop while you can. The one you call SCP-3228, test number, 3228-05, subject, D22678, observations, subject acquired near-complete memory loss. Researchers also reported that SCP-3228 appeared physically drained following the test. Approximately 12 minutes after D12558's awakening, SCP breached containment, during which D22678 managed to escape Foundation custody. Attempts to locate D22678 are currently ongoing. Additional notes, following this, all D-Class to be tested on SCP-3228 are to undergo evaluation prior to testing in order to prevent using D-Class personnel that will result in similar events from occurring. Test number, 3228-06, subject, D6797, observations, the first stage of the 3228A event ended prematurely, only minutes in. Both SCP-3228 and D6797 appeared startled and physically drained. The second phase of the 3228A event never occurred. Further information restricted to Level 4 access and above. Addendum Number 2, Recovery Log. The Foundation was alerted to SCP-3228 after receiving numerous reports of anomalous events, later confirmed to be 3228A events, throughout eastern France. However, SCP-3228 was only apprehended after Foundation surveillance recorded 3,228 attempting to enter a site formerly having ties to GOI-0267. Are we cool yet? 3,228 initially refused to converse with Foundation personnel until Dr. McCormick eventually achieved an interview with SCP-3228, interview transcript 3228-01, date, //2017, interviewed, SCP-3228, interviewer, Dr. McCormick, with on standby, begin log, Dr. McCormick, greetings, SCP-3228. We'd like to ask you a few questions if that's okay with you. SCP-3228 nods, Dr. McCormick, I'd like to start by asking what you know about where you are. Do you know who we are? Why you're here? SCP-3228, my father once spoke about this place. Dr. McCormick, could you care to elaborate? SCP-3228, he said it was a prison, a place things like us spend their days stripped of all freedom and forced to live in a disconsolate isolation from the world. And now, confined to these bare, lifeless walls, I see that much is true. Now, I have no other option to escape into dreams. Above anything it only serves to keep me sane. Dr. McCormick, what exactly do you mean by escaping into dreams? SCP-3228, when people dream, they create entire worlds in their minds, worlds I can go to. Most people I meet are reliving the highlights of their lives and remembering the people they love. But some people, some have detestable fantasies, desires that conjure up cruel and twisted imagery. It's sickening, haunting. I need something to block out that pain. But I feel guilty for taking away from the people who have kept my faith in humanity intact. You understand, Dr. McCormick is instructed via earpiece to question 3228 about the individual it calls father. Dr. McCormick,
I see. You mentioned your father earlier and his knowledge of the Foundation. Can you tell me anything about him? SCP-3228, well, father is what he wanted us to call him. I was one of a number of his children. He told us that we had been gifted life, that we were something more than the humans of this world. But, he was never content with what he had. He'd become corrupt by his obsession to create something greater, something evocative, something to show society its greed and destructive nature. Even after claiming that he had finally made the perfect piece, his human-like obsession to his work left his old creations aging unloved, unwanted, without a single loving figure in their lives. SCP-3228 hesitates. SCP-3228, we fought, me and him, the false reality I had been led to believe fueling my anger towards him, but when he threatened to take away my existence I ran like a coward. When I returned, he'd gone. They'd all gone, and only then did I realize how alone I was. Dr. McCormick, have you ever found your father since? Do you know where your fellow creations are? SCP-3228, I've tried to find them, as well as my father, ever since, following rumors, gathering information, searching dreams for any trace of my siblings so I can end my life of solitude. But I guess that will never happen now. I'm trapped here for eternity. I hope you're happy with yourselves for this, Dr. McCormick. Is there anything else you can tell us, about anything you've said? SCP-3228, silence, Dr. McCormick. I think that'll do for now then. Terminating interview, end log, plus further information restrict level 4 access and above, access granted. Addendum number 3, during test 3228-06, the following interview was conducted after D6797 emerged from REM sleep. Interview transcript 3228-02, date, //2017, interviewed, SCP-3228, interviewer, Dr. McCormick via intercom, begin log, SCP-3228, panting. What have you done, Dr. McCormick? SCP-3228, what's going on? SCP-3228, I warned you. I tried to get you to stop, but you wouldn't listen. Everything I did and you still wouldn't stop, Dr. McCormick, can you elaborate? SCP-3228? What happened? SCP-3228, the moment I went into his mind, I could sense it, only stronger this time than ever before. So, I went looking for whatever this thing was, and I found something, Dr. McCormick, I need you to explain this more. SCP-3228. What happened? What did you find? SCP-3228. An oblivion. A void. In the place where his memories should be, there was an emptiness. But that presence, the one I felt in all your D classes, it was more menacing, more sinister than ever before, worse than the thoughts of man I'm all too familiar with. And me being there was making it stronger, as if the darkness and the loneliness was feeding off of my own conscience. It kept pulling me in further, further into the darkness, further than I thought there was. I tried resisting, but that only dragged me further in, until I saw that thing. No, SCP-3228 covers its face in its hands and cries out in fear, Dr. McCormick, what did you see? SCP-3228. I can't do this. You have to put an end to this testing. I don't care what your superiors say, I'm not going in those mines again. I won't risk it. I won't, Dr. McCormick is advised to terminate the interview. Dr. McCormick, I'm going to end this here. Thank you. SCP-3228, end log, footnotes, 1. Solitsada is currently the oldest known town in Europe.